Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. In this video, I'm going to show you 6 of my favorite postures for relieving back pain from travel. So if you've been driving a lot recently, if you've been on a plane, if you've been on a train, a ship, whatever that would be, these are postures that are going to help relieve back pain from sitting for a long period of time. So you can use this if you're an office worker. This is also going to be great for you guys. But the overall goal here is if you've got that feeling of stiffness or pain in your low and your mid back just because you're sitting a lot, these poses are my go-to exercises for getting rid of that pain. So I'm going to go straight into it. You don't need any equipment for this. If you have a yoga mat, great, but you can also use a floor, preferably one that's clean, or a towel if you're in a hotel. So here we go. First exercise is a reclined twist. So on your back, go ahead and bring your knees on top of your hips. Relax your arms on the ground, head and neck down. If you need to put a pillow or something under your head, if your head is coming off the ground, you can do that. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bring your legs over toward the left. Try to keep your right shoulder down. And if your knees touch the ground, if your left knee touches the ground, great. If you notice that your right shoulder comes up off the ground, that's not a problem. Just do your best to squeeze that arm and that shoulder down toward the ground. Put your left hand on top of your right knee. And you want to try and get your chest to face up as much as possible with your hips facing out toward the left. And while you're here, just take some deep breaths. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your nose. And squeeze your core, squeeze your abs as you exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. And you should feel, keep up that breathing. And as you're doing this, you should feel some opening through your low back on the right side. You might also feel some stretching on your outer right hip. And you can hold this for at least 30 seconds. And if you'd like to, you can hold it for 60, 75, or even 90 seconds. And then to switch sides, you're going to inhale back to the middle. And then exhale, bring your legs over to the right. Thank you, Kaya. Right hand on top of your left knee. You're going to work on squeezing your left shoulder to the ground. And again, it's okay if your shoulder doesn't quite touch the ground. That just means you're not quite as mobile in your spine. And the longer you hold this pose as you use your exhale, you'll notice that your shoulders and your elbow kind of relax closer to the ground as you hold the posture. So you'll notice immediate progress as you're holding this, just as long as you're using your breath to go deeper. And then again, technique here, I want to try and keep my hips facing out to the side, get my torso to face up as much as possible, and keep my head and neck and shoulders relaxed down. Deep breathing. And as you exhale, relaxing deeper into the twist. All right, come back to the middle. And again, anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds for that reclined twist. Next exercise is a bridge. You're going to plant your heels in front of your butt. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your hamstrings, and then press down through your feet to lift your hips. So you want to keep your back flat here. You shouldn't be pressing your back up and really arching too much. Actually, you want to keep your spine neutral. And then focus on squeezing your hamstrings, so the backs of your thighs, and your butt muscles, your glutes. Knees are going to be kind of directly above your ankles, and you want to make sure you're pressing down through your feet, all 4 corners of the feet. So your pinky toes, your big toes, and your heels. And squeeze your abs here. So I want you to make sure that you're not just using your low back to support yourself, but actually squeezing your core. And I also suggest squeezing your shoulders and your heels toward one another. So think pulling your upper body forward with your feet, and you'll notice a bit more muscle engagement through your thighs and hips. Shoulders, head, and neck are relaxed down. And we're holding this for, again, at least 30 seconds. And you can hold this for 90, 60 seconds. You can hold it for longer if you want to work a little bit more on endurance or if it just feels good. All right, and then we're relaxing down. Okay, next pose is a warrior one. So I'm going to have you stand up for this. Warrior one is basically a lunge variation. You're going to have your right leg forward, step your left foot back like you're doing a lunge, and then turn it out 45 degrees. Press down through the outer edge of your foot, through your heel, through the toes. Do your best to square your hips forward, and then bend into your right knee. Again, just like you're doing a lunge. Knee is over the ankle in the front foot. Press your left hip toward your right knee, and then hug your legs toward one another. So squeezing your right leg and your left leg toward one another. Lift your ribs up and away from the hips. So getting tall through this lunge, and then lift your arms up and squeeze your arms back. So this is primarily a lower body exercise, but because we tend to get bad posture while we're driving or while we're sitting, I want you to really squeeze your arms back as far as you can so that you're not just doing hips, but also working on your upper back. So you should feel the muscles between your shoulder blades working as you squeeze your arms back. As you exhale, you can sink deeper into the lunge. Just remember to lead with your hips. Don't just lean forward with your shoulders. Think keeping your shoulders on top of your hips as you're holding this. And for Warrior One, I would say hold it for at least 45 seconds. You're gonna feel a lot of stretching through your groin, through your hips here. And that's going to help with your back, but also with your knees. And again, shoulders too, as we're squeezing the arms back. To get out, go ahead and just stand up, and then we'll do the other side. So left foot forward, right leg back. Point the back foot out 45 degrees. Press your right hip toward your left knee. Hug your legs lightly toward one another. So my left foot squeezes back, my right foot squeezes forward. I want to think lifting my ribs away from my hips. That's going to help get a deeper groin stretch. And then arms up and really squeeze the arms back. If you have tight shoulders and it's difficult to get your arms overhead, try doing a goalpost arm variation. So your elbows are going to be level with the shoulders, and really squeeze your shoulder blades toward one another. This is nice because you're getting some chest mobility while you're strengthening your upper back. And again, if you're traveling, the shoulders are usually in a pretty bad position. As you exhale, you can go deeper into the stretch. So going deeper into the lunge. And again, we want to hold this for anywhere from 45 to 90 seconds. So you don't have to follow along with me to do this. You can do this on your own. All right, and then we'll stand up. Next exercise is a horse. And this is a really nice squat modification. You're going to take a wide stance, turn your toes out about 45 degrees. You can start with your feet out about 45 degrees. If you're more flexible, you can turn your toes further out, but 45 degrees is a good starting point. You want to keep your butt under your shoulders, so don't let your butt poke out behind you. Actually squeeze your butt. Think about reaching your tailbone down and tightening your core. And then you can sit down into this horse stance. I call it a haka. It's also called a goddess pose. So there's a few different names for it. And then I like to kind of just move my hips from side to side, bend into one knee, bend to the other knee, and that just allows me to work a little bit deeper into this pose. Squeeze your knees toward the back. Don't let your knees cave in toward the middle. And as you exhale, you're working on sitting deeper into this. This is great because we're working on that inner thigh, your groin mobility, but you're also challenging the strength of your hips. So we're getting some blood flow, we're getting some muscle activation into some areas of your body that are pretty inactive while we're sitting, and that's going to relieve pressure on the back. Arms can come straight out in front of you. I'd like bringing my arms out here just because I can kind of counterbalance and lean further back if my arms are out. And here, I would hold this for at least 45 seconds, which is challenging, so you can start with 30 seconds and work your way up. You can also kind of do reps if you want. So if you get tired, you can stand up and then sit back down. And you can hold this for up to 90 seconds or even 2 minutes if it feels good. All right, and then we're back up. Now we're gonna move down to the ground. Cobra is our next pose. If you've done Cobra before, great, but I'm gonna walk you through this a little bit more actively than you've probably done it in the past. So lay down flat on your chest, hands under your shoulders, Reach your legs back one at a time. Point your toes as far as you can. Press the tops of your feet into the ground, so all 10 toes are touching the mat. Squeeze your legs together, so you're pressing your big toes together. Squeeze your thighs, so your knees lift the ground. Press your hips into the floor, and then use your core strength to lift your chest off the ground. Squeeze your elbows toward one another, so you're pulling your shoulder blades together and down, and then press the top of your head away from your shoulders and look slightly forward. Or if you want, you can use your eyes to look up, and your body will kind of follow that. And so here we're focusing on not just your back, but also your hips, your core, your thighs. Try to keep your feet pressing down. It's hard to do, but try. You might feel some cramping here. That's normal. It'll go away with time, as long as you keep practicing, as long as you do these regularly. Squeeze the elbows toward one another, shoulder blades pulling together, chest nice and open. Get longer, get taller, and then release. So that's Cobra. You want to do that for at least 20 seconds. You can hold that for up to 45 seconds. Last exercise I'll show you here is a pigeon. And this is a big hip stretch. So I'm going to have you start kind of in a half cross-legged position. So your right knee up and outside the hip, right heel kind of in toward the butt. You're going to swing your left leg back like so. Get the top of your left leg to face the ground. Bring your left hip toward your right heel. Angle your chest and your hips so that you're facing straight forward. And keep your chest up right here. So don't just collapse your chest down. That's actually going to aggravate that low back stiffness. So I want you to keep your chest upright. Check in with your right thigh. Make sure that your inner right thigh is facing up, that you're not just pointing the shin toward the ground, but getting that inner thigh facing up and the outer thigh facing down. And then I want you to shift your weight gradually to your hips. So this depth that I'm in right now, if you haven't done this before, you're probably not going to get here right away. So we just want to work on slowly getting that weight centered toward the hips. And you can use your hands to support you. So you can keep your hands kind of planted in front of you. You can put some of the weight in your hands initially. Over time, you can shift your weight to your hips. And we're going to hold this for at least 45 seconds and up to 90 seconds or 2 minutes. It also helps to hug your legs toward one another. So kind of squeeze your right and your left knee toward the middle, toward one another. Keep your ribs pulling away from your hips. And as you exhale, you're relaxing deeper into this posture. All right. To roll out or to come out of it, you're just going to roll toward your right, and we'll switch sides. So again, if you want to get into it from kind of that half cross-legged position, we can start with the left knee outside the hip here, left heel in toward the butt. You're going to swing your right leg back, get the top of your right leg to face the ground. Use your toes to kind of walk your leg back. Get your hips and your torso facing straight forward. You might notice that at first, your weight is kind of toward the left. Maybe you've got more weight in the hands initially, and that's fine. We just want to work on kind of progressing toward getting the weight in the hips and squaring your hips forward. And that might not happen the first time you do it, so that's okay. Again, it does help to squeeze your legs toward one another. If you are in this posture and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything, this is really tight, but I'm holding it, then you're just going to be there, and that's fine. Make sure you're breathing in and out of your nose. So really slow, controlled breathing to help your body relax. The more slow, the more controlled your breathing is, the easier it is to do these postures. And then once you've held it for, good 45, 60, 90 seconds, roll toward your left and come out. So there you go. Those are my 6 favorite stretchers or postures for relieving back stiffness from traveling. I just went on a 20-hour drive, both ways. And these are the exact postures that I go to when I try to relieve back pain. So we do have a longer workout of this available. This will be here on YouTube. We also have an even longer version, which is 45 minutes, available in the Man-Flow Yoga members area. So if you're looking for more workouts like that or a structured program to follow, check it out, manflowyoga.com. If you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe. We put out great content on a weekly basis, all with the goal of helping you get stronger with yoga and try to learn yoga in a way that's more strength or fitness focused. So hope you enjoy the video. Leave a comment. Make sure to like the video if you have any questions. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one.